Yeah, look, I just ordered this book. It's called on Bullshit by Princeton philosopher Harry G. Frankfurt. Yeah, and it's a pretty small book, really, considering the fact that it's actually a very important book in the area of philosophy. Maybe not the most important book, but at least the book did contribute to take away the taboo of the word bullshit. Because before the publication of this book, oh, you're not allowed to say that word because of the word shit that's hidden in here, right? But from that point onward, now the word bullshit actually is a term that is commonly used and is a completely acceptable term that is commonly used now in philosophical discourse. And there is an interesting quote here also in the back cover of the book that I want to read out here. Bullshit is a greater enemy of the truth than lies are. Yeah, here it is. So ever since the publication of this book, which by the way was a New York Times bestseller, okay, ever since the publication of this book, I could actually see that people are now basically evaluating speeches and text and whatever has been published, whether there is BS in it or not. Yeah, I basically want to quickly explain what BS is, bullshit is, and then later also a short little anecdote from my school. And I think the best way of explaining it is by giving you a couple of examples, really. I found a few examples here, 4 examples that I would like to read out here. Let's say that there's a company which basically is going bankrupt and they've made some losses here. And the CEO of the company now basically explains, these numbers reflect our ongoing commitment to excellence, and we're excited about the synergies that will unlock unparalleled value for all stakeholders moving forward. I mean, I don't even know what this means, right? And these are just empty words. They're not lies. It's not the truth, and it's also not the point of communicating information. It's just, it sounds grand, and you're kind of avoiding the problem, really, right? So that is an example of a BS statement. In contrast, the truth would be profits are down 25% this quarter. That's a true statement. And if the boss of the company were to say the profits actually went up this quarter, well, then of course he's lying. According to Frankfurt, he actually says that BS, bullshitting, is actually worse than lying, because if you're lying, then at least you know what the truth is. Right? And then you're deciding not to say the truth. But if you're BSing, then you don't even care what the truth is, because you're following a completely different agenda, right? So the bullshit, the BS version would then be, these results are proof we're building a brighter future. Really? What does this mean, a brighter future? I've got a few more examples here. If you're asking for advice, life advice, and a friend tells you, just follow your passion and the universe will align to make it happen. These are just empty words, right? I mean, it means nothing, right? So, or another one, a politician maybe. We will create opportunities for everyone by harnessing innovation and unleashing the potential of our people. It sounds cool. It has absolutely no meaning. Yeah. Sometimes BSing is you're using a language that kind of impresses others, right? And then you think, wow, this person must be really smart and intelligent because he's using so complicated language, but actually there's nothing behind it. Or people can be BSing so that you don't have to talk about the truth. Yeah, you're kind of avoiding the problem. Last example, if you want to sell something, for example, in advertisement, this herbal detox tea removes toxins from your body and resets your energy. I mean, what does this even mean, to reset the energy, right? Yeah, I found this one little anecdote here. It's a communication by Fania Pascal, who knew Ludwig Wittgenstein personally in the 1930s, right? And this lady, she had an operation, had her tonsils taken out, right? And she felt pretty miserable. And then when she talked to Wittgenstein, she said, I feel just like a dog that has been run over, right, because of the operation. Yeah, and then he was disgusted. Wittgenstein was disgusted, and he said the following: "You don't know what a dog that has been run over feels like." Yeah, so that's basically, he's been criticizing, man, you're just BSing. I mean, why are you saying that even? Yeah, you're not saying the truth. You're not lying. That's not your point. You're just basically saying anything, just to say something, and that is kind of where he's been saying, Wittgenstein has been saying, well, you're just BSing, right? So these were all examples of BS, and Frankfurt is actually criticizing this, as a matter of fact, it starts off with quite an interesting little quote here. One of the most salient features of our culture is that there is so much bullshit. Yeah, so he's criticizing this in this world, and if you basically are interested in this book, there is you can read a sample chapter online on Amazon. But now a little bit, somewhat of humorous anecdote that I experienced some time ago when I talked about BS in a classroom, because I teach also a theory of knowledge, which is a sub branch of philosophy. So I'm not only a biology teacher, but I'm also dealing with critical thinking, and I explained this to the students. What BS is, and we went through some examples and so on. And I told the students, now you can actually, from now on, you can actually use this word, because it's not a bad word anymore. It's now a technical term that is used in the area of philosophy to distinguish between lies, truths, and now we have also BS, bullshit, as one of those forms of speech. And then one of the students actually used this word in one of the essays in another subject. And I remember that the teacher started to say, oh my gosh, can you believe this? A student of mine actually used the word bullshit in one of his English essays. Yeah, I mean, he's going to lose points and have to take points off. You're not allowed to use that word. And then I basically said, well, yeah, of course, he used it because I taught them this word, and it's nowadays you can use this word because it's a technical term in the field of philosophy. And Harry Frankfurt basically provided the theoretical foundation and the philosophical foundation for bullshit. That's the book, right? That's why this book is so kind of important in that specific area, because it provided the philosophical foundation, and from now on you can use this word. And then she said something the teacher said actually something quite interesting, where I have to admit I lost a little bit my arguments. And then she says, yeah, just because some philosopher says that you're now allowed to use this word, basically doesn't make it an acceptable term. Because in the subject area of English, you're not allowed to use this word because there's the word shit in there. Yeah, and it's a bad word, and you're not allowed to use it. Yeah, and the student's going to lose points. Yeah, so just because in one area you're allowed to use it does not mean that you're allowed to use it everywhere. Yeah, so that's an interesting take on the whole situation, where I think people who are specialized in certain areas, like in philosophy, we have to be careful a little bit as well, that the general public might not be able to follow our intentions here. Just wanted to share this with you. Generally, again, if you're interested in this book, you can read a little bit into it, because there are a couple of sample pages on Amazon, and honestly, it's not really. I think it's more like a long essay than a regular book. But there are a couple of interesting points that he makes. All the best. Bye-bye.